Infield, Chicago. The crowd starting to rev up. Contreras with a long home run that hits the scoreboard. It is up and it is gone. Javier Baez, another home run. The Cubs are going to draw the Dodgers ace. Strike three. Kershaw rings the bell. The Dodgers trying to punch their ticket to the World Series, but there will be a Game 5. And game day has arrived in Chicago, Illinois on a beautiful night for baseball. The red line brings you to the beautiful neighborhood of Wrigleyville and right to the front door of one of baseball's great cathedrals. We are at Wrigley Field once again, still open for business after a Chicago win last night. The 2017 National League Championship Series is presented by Camping World. It is the Dodgers, still one game away from a National League pennant, their first in 29 years, matching up against the reigning world champion Chicago Cubs. And everybody, we welcome you from Wrigley. Great to have you with us once again tonight. This series continues. I'm Brian Anderson along with Ron Darling. Sam Ryan is our reporter. And yesterday the Chicago Cubs got the win. And Ron, they looked a little more like the Chicago Cubs. They got some of their identity back with the long ball. Well, they did. But during the summer when they were playing their best baseball, they're able to group hits together. That has not happened in this series. You got to give some of the credit to the pitching of the Dodgers. They've been hitting the ball out. They have not scored a run except via the home run. And in yesterday's game, they got 3 solo home runs and somehow held on. Well, the Chicago Cubs have 7 runs in this National League Championship Series. All of those runs have come courtesy of the home run ball. So on the flip side, now the Los Angeles Dodgers get a second swing to try to punch their ticket to the World Series. And they feel good about where they are right now because they have a rested bullpen and they have their ace, Clayton Kershaw, on the mound. You know, Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher of his generation, and he's looking for a vintage moment here in the postseason. The only issue has been, we've been talking about the Cubs hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Well, look at the last 13 and third innings pitched in the postseason by Kershaw. He's given up 7 home runs, so this is going to be the clash of the Titans here this evening. Kershaw with 2 starts in the NLCS last year here at Wrigley Field. It'll be a Game 1 rematch with Kershaw matching up against left-hander Jose Quintana. Traded from the White Sox to the Cubs this season at Wrigley. He is perfect, 5-0 with an ERA at 4.24. The Dodgers can close out the Cubs at Wrigley tonight. The Cubs, they're trying to survive one more day and send this series to Los Angeles. October baseball continuing on TBS. nice, cool, crisp night here in the fall in Chicago. 59 degrees, a slight breeze coming out of the southwest. Looking like it might even want a trend blowing out at some point here tonight. Third member of our team is Sam Ryan. She is standing by down below. And Sam, Clayton Kershaw, he's looking for that big moment in the postseason.
He certainly is, Brian. 1988, the last time the Dodgers were in the World Series. That was the year that Clayton Kershaw was born. He has a chance to pitch his team into the Fall Classic with a victory tonight. Could they do so? But as you mentioned, facing this Cubs team that he faced twice in the NLCS last year, a Game 2 victory, and then Game 6 gave up 5 runs, 4 of those earned over 5 innings. Dave Roberts saying, yeah, he wants to pitch well in the postseason, but the difference this year, he knows he doesn't have to do it on his own, thanks in part to the strength of the bullpen. And his catcher, Austin Barnes, telling me in regards to his demeanor, didn't really notice anything different today. Said looks like a regular season start for Clayton Kershaw, guys. Yeah,
when your competitive level goes to 11, every time he's on the mound, it's hard to take it any higher than Clayton Kershaw.
I watched him the entire time loosening up out there. He is as tense as I've ever seen him.
So Kershaw, who pitched twice in the postseason at Wrigley Field last year, gets the ball again with a chance to send them to the World Series. As we take a look at the batting order for the Dodgers, presented by Camping World, Chris Taylor leads off again. Then he's got Justin Turner in the second spot in the batting order. This is a lineup very similar to Game 1. Cody Bellinger hits third with Puig, Forsythe, and Hernandez in the middle. Puig moving up to the cleanup spot. And then it goes Barnes, Culberson, and Kershaw to round out the starting 9. That will match up against Jose Quintana, the Cub left-hander, his second start of the NLCS. Take a look at the starting pitcher profile presented by State Farm.
Well, 7-3 in the regular season after being traded over to the Cubs. 5-0 here at Wrigley Field. And like you said, his postseason has been fine so far.
Quintana had 4 excellent innings in Los Angeles in Game 1, coming back on short rest. And Ronnie, how about the defense for the Cubs behind him tonight?
Well, the defense is strong. Amora Jr., Zobrist, and Schwarber in the outfield. That is going to be, you're going to have to cover for those 2 guys. Bryant, Russell, Baez, and Rizzo, real solid infield, and the great arm of Contreras behind the plate.
Contreras and Baez with home runs last night. Javi Baez hit 2 in the game last night. That sends us to a Game 5. It was a very good ball game last night. Well played, great execution, a tight game right down to the end. Jake Arrieta pitched a terrific game in last night's game, and the Cubs able to stave off elimination for another day. As a matter of fact, the Cubs have now won 5 consecutive games when facing elimination. They're going to have another one in front of them tonight. And the Dodgers are hoping to put this National League Championship Series in the rearview mirror.
Joe Maddon in his career now 11-5 in elimination games.
Home plate umpire is Bill Welke. Alfonso Marquez, Eric Cooper, and Todd Tishner go around the infield. 2 outfield umpires in Mike Winters and Jim Wolf. Lance Barksdale is the replay umpire. And Chris Taylor ready to dig in, the leadoff man for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Everybody set to go. Jose Quintana from the windup and delivers the game's first pitch. Big swing and a miss, and away we go in Game 5.
From Quintana, you're going to see a fastball that he likes to ride upstairs, a good curveball, but his best pitch probably is his changeup.
Quintana is a first pitch strike throwing machine. That is how he succeeds at the major league level. And he's been a little bit of an under the radar pitcher the first few years of his career, coming in underneath Chris Sale and the Chicago White Sox, but emerging as a premium talent. And he was one of the hot names at the trade deadline, and the Cubs were able to get the deal done, trading prospects, big prospects, to the south side to get Jose Quintana. See what he's done against the Dodgers. That includes his NLCS start in Game 1. A 0.95 earned run average, covering a pretty good sample size of 19 innings.
Well, he's a premium talent not only because of the stuff and the repertoire, but also he's a guy that will give you 32+ starts every year, 200 innings plus every year, and struck out over 200 this season.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Taylor. Just getting this one started here tonight. Taylor's been fantastic for the Dodgers. He just continues to be one of the big stories in Major League Baseball in the postseason. He has 4 hits in the NLCS. He has an OPS in the NLCS over 1,200. Both of his home runs in this series have given his team the lead. As he takes a ball and the count goes to 3-2. Justin Turner elevated to the 2nd spot in the batting order. Normally occupied by Corey Seager, who continues to be off this NLCS roster with a bad back. Payoff pitch. Taylor turns it around, foul.
I don't think we've seen Taylor, fair or foul, have soft contact in this series so far. That big leg kick gets that bat straight to the ball, no loop. The velocity of his swing is something that you marvel at also.
Another 3-2 pitch. Taylor fights that one off foul. Yesterday, Taylor, as the Dodgers were trying to come back, Justin Turner had hit a home run to make it a 1-run game. Wade Davis went back out for the 9th inning, trying to get the final 6 outs, and there was Chris Taylor trying to get Turner to the plate. He did draw a walk, but a double play ended the game. Bellinger bounced into a 4-6-3 double play to end the night and give the Cubs their first win. And there is a walk. A 9-pitch battle to start the game. Quintana loses Taylor, and a man is on for the Dodgers right away.
Constant theme for the Dodgers and for Taylor, just grinding out these at-bats against the Cubs pitching.
The Dodgers in this series have 27 walks. 27. This is game 5. We're just starting. Meanwhile, the Cubs have 4. It's been a stark contrast in style and execution offensively. Cubs getting all of their runs at this point on the home run ball. And the Dodgers seemingly with base runners in every inning as Justin Turner lets it fly on the first pitch. His home run yesterday turned it from a 3-1 deficit for the Dodgers to a 3-2 deficit. And he banged one deep into left center off the scoreboard. Justin Turner now with 3 homers this postseason. Quintana coming inside, misses upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Quintana will throw over to first base often, but he doesn't have a great move to first. He's pretty quick to the plate, and he also has the arm of Contreras behind the plate.
His season got started a little bit earlier than most. He was participating in the World Baseball Classic for his homeland, Colombia. Had a terrific game against the United States in the WBC. And then, of course, all the news swirling about Quintana being a potential trade piece. He and Sonny Gray and ultimately Justin Verlander. Those were the 3 big names among the starting pitchers. And a rare White Sox to Cubs trade sent Jose Quintana to the north side. 14 starts as a member of the Cubs. He won 7 of those 14, was 7-3 with a 3.74 ERA. His strikeouts went way up as a member of the Cubs, up over 10.5 strikeouts per 9 innings once he joined the Chicago Cubs.
Struck out 12 in his first start against the Baltimore Orioles.
2-1 pitch is a curve, and it's in there for a strike. That'll be a significant pitch for Quintana, right, Ronnie? Well, that's the 3rd weapon that he has.
That's the pitch he can get back in the at-bats with when he's behind in the count. Turner and the rest of the Dodgers will mostly take that pitch.
His signature pitch, the changeup. 2-2 the count, and a swing right off the end of the bat. Turner able to foul it off to stay alive.
And that's really what we've seen from Taylor and Turner. They've been able to stay in at bats, but fouling off a pitcher's pitch. That's as good a changeup as Quintana's going to throw.
You look at the top 4 batters in this Dodgers order. Typically it's the top 5 with Seager in there, but he's out. This fearsome foursome at the top of the batting order, as good as there is going right now in the postseason. This is a tough group to get through efficiently. And a swing and a miss. Quintana strikes out Turner for the first out. He is human. He does strike out.
Down and away, up and in with the fastball. Perfect sequence of pitches by Quintana. I'm not sold that he's human yet, just because of that at bat.
Well, all year long he was the best hitter in the National League with 2 strikes. Quintana gets him to swing and miss on the 2-strike pitch, his first out, and that brings up Cody Bellinger now. Bellinger hit the ball like a bullet in his last at bat yesterday, but he hit it right to Baez at second, and what looked like was turning into another potential long inning for Wade Davis ended up with a 4-6-3 double play, a game-ending double play, and the Cubs were able to post their first win. Bellinger homered last night. He hit a line drive missile just over the basket in right field. No left-handed hitter. Meanwhile, this is a rookie. No left-handed hitter with more homers against left-handed pitching this season than Cody Bellinger. 12 of his 39 homers during the regular year. Conversely, Jose Quintana gave up just 1 home run to a left-handed hitter all season. That was Jake Lamb of the Arizona Diamondbacks way back in May while pitching for the White Sox.
Two darts on the outside corner with his fastball by Quintana.
Bellinger able to lay off. The count will even at 2-2. What felt like a very apprehensive crowd yesterday when the game began. Now they're a live wire crowd. It is the last game of the Wrigley portion of the NLCS. If the Cubs win tonight, this will resume in Los Angeles on Saturday. Dodgers with the home field advantage this season. 2-2, and Bellinger lines one down the right field line. That's going to get into the corner. Taylor can really run, and he's on his way. He's going to try to score. The throw to the plate, not in time. Over to third goes Bellinger. It'll be an RBI double. It's 1-0 Dodgers as the rookie Bellinger gets the Dodgers on the board quickly.
Tried to come in with a fastball, and Bellinger was all over it. Good job by Zobrist in the corner. He got to it quickly. He got it in quickly, but the speed of Taylor too much to get him at the plate. The tag on the foot, but too late.
Tell you one thing you notice right there, though, Roddy, Contreras did not learn his lesson from an earlier call that went against the Cubs, continuing to stick that leg out there. I'd remember that much discussed play at Dodger Stadium in game 1. Infield is in, and here is Yasiel Puig with a runner at third. How about that? Infield in the first inning.
Watch that left leg. It comes out to try to catch the hand of Taylor, but he got it through too quick, and only the tag on the foot, which was too late.
He can only mark that down to habit and instinct. That's what he's done his whole life, but as we've seen already, that cost him. There's Puig, a little pop-up. Backing up is Rizzo, the Gold Glover. He's got it for this second out. That's a big bat to retire with a runner at third and 1 out. So now 2 men are gone. Here comes Logan Forsythe to face Jose Quintana. Forsythe getting the start at second base tonight. Chase Utley was there yesterday. Forsythe's had a nice postseason. Does have 1 hit in this NLCS. Has 5 hits overall in the postseason. Game 2 of the division series, Forsythe had 3 hits. Ended up as one of the stars of the game in that Game 2 victory in the division series against Arizona. Dodgers swept the Diamondbacks.
It's the first time the Dodgers have had the lead early in the game against the Cubs.
Yeah, first 4 games, Cubs striking first on home run balls. But tonight the Dodgers take the early lead. Giving Clayton Kershaw an advantage in the first. 1 ball, 1 strike on Forsythe. 1-2.
We've seen starts by Quintana that he very rarely throws that curveball. He's thrown it a lot here in the first inning. That's part of his game plan.
This time around pitching on full rest. Came back on short rest his last time out in Game 1. Back up the middle, right in the glove of Quintana. And the inning is over. But the Dodgers score first for the first time in this NLCS. Cody Bellinger with an RBI double. 1-0 LA. Let's take a look at the batting order for the Chicago Cubs, turned in by Joe Madden and presented by Camping World. Almora, Schwarber, Bryant at the top. In the middle goes Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras, and Addison Russell. Javi Baez, Ben Zobrist, the switch hitter. And it's rounded out by Jose Quintana. And that is the batting order that will face Clayton Kershaw, the Dodger ace, as we take a look at our starting pitcher profile presented by State Farm.
Well, you see the numbers to his postseason career. That's 20 games, 16 starts. He's 144 and 64 in his career.
Kershaw facing Almora, who hit a 2-run home run off Kershaw in Game 1. And Almora returns to the starting lineup as the center fielder and the leadoff man here tonight. Kershaw quickly ahead, 0-2.
A little backdoor cutter from Kershaw. You don't see a lot of those from him. Usually spends most of his time on the inside part of the plate, but as the pitch he is developing, like he needs any more pitches.
21st career postseason game for Kershaw. 17th start is Almora with a wave and a miss, and Kershaw starts it with a strikeout.
Defensively behind Kershaw. Taylor goes back out to center field. Culberson comes in and plays shortstop. Forsythe up the middle. Bellinger and Turner on the corners. And Austin Barnes again behind the plate. He started 4 of the 5 games.
It's been an excellent defensive unit for the Dodgers. They've got a lot of movable pieces as well, but they've been very good in the postseason on defense. Kyle Schwarber stands in, back in the lineup, hitting second tonight against Kershaw. I think after the win last night, Joe Maddon wants to keep Bryant and Rizzo 3 and 4 in the batting order. Throughout most of the regular season, you'd see Bryant hit second with Rizzo batting third.
He wants to keep them 3 and 4, but he also wants them to start hitting. That Rizzo combination has not been strong in this NLCS.
And Bryant is 3 for 16 in this series. Rizzo is 1 for 13. And a big swing and a miss by Schwarber. There are 2 lefties and a switch hitter in the lineup for the Chicago Cubs against Kershaw here tonight. But with Schwarber in, sacrificing a little defense, gives you the idea that Maddon's searching for some offense. And remember, Schwarber got things started for the Cubs on a high note in their first game at Wrigley in this series when he hit an opposite field home run off Yu Darvish. That was in Game 3. 2-2, and it's inside. Able to check his swing. Then the count goes full.
Something you see from Rich Hill, you just saw from Clayton Kershaw. Drop down a little bit on Schwarber to try to get a little better angle.
Kershaw, winner of 5 National League ERA titles, including this season. In his 7th postseason, his overall postseason numbers at 5 and 7 with a 4.57 ERA. And you have to talk about Kershaw, as great as he has been, and he is a Hall of Fame member right now for Major League Baseball. And he's had a few moments in the postseason, but he knows a chance to send his team to the World Series. This is one of the bigger ones he's had. And that one misses outside. Schwarber draws the walk.
Kershaw just asked home plate umpire Bill Welke if that pitch was away. He thought that was on the corner. Let's see in our box if it hits the corner. It looks a little off for me, and I think a good call by Welke.
I'll tell you one thing you notice though at Kershaw, he's got some velocity tonight. That came in at 96 miles an hour. Schwarber draws the walk. That'll bring up Chris Bryant now. And Bryant gets jammed and fouls it away. These are the kind of matchups you live for if you're a baseball fan. You've got the multiple Cy Young Award winner, 3 times a Cy Young Award winner in Clayton Kershaw, will have a chance to win a 4th Cy Young Award this year. And the reigning MVP of the National League at the plate in Chris Bryant, who has also won the Rookie of the Year. Two of the best players in the game and the most recognizable players in the game matching up.
We talked to Joe Madden today about Kris Bryant and his struggles. He says yes, he goes through some periods every year like this because he gets a little tentative. He'd rather let him just let it fly.
Only the 3 hits in the NLCS, only 1 hit with a runner on base. Bryant is 1 for 13. Cubs desperate to get him going. And that one's on the ground. Coming in, Culberson scoops it and throws him out. Had just the 1 play on the slow roller. Bryant is retired. 6-3 on the putout. 2 outs in the inning. And into second base goes Schwarber.
Not an easy play for Culberson. In the glove, the snap throw, and something on it.
Culberson making his 3rd start at the shortstop position here in this NLCS. In for the injured Corey Seager, the all-star shortstop, who is still trying to battle his way through a bad back and get back on an active roster. Anthony Rizzo with 2 away. Shift is on for Rizzo. And had his mind made up. Swings in one of the dirt. Kershaw gets ahead of him.
Shift is on for Rizzo, but originally the shift had Forsythe deep in right field or shallow right field, and then they moved him on in to the infield. We'll see if that makes a difference with Rizzo up.
Well, the Cubs as a team, just the 1 hit with a runner in scoring position in this postseason. That's been the talk of the town here in Chicago. When is the offense going to get it back together? Did hit 3 home runs last night, but didn't put themselves in a position to manufacture any runs. Didn't get those multiple hits in an inning or multiple base runners.
They don't run a lot, so they can't do it that way either.
Joe Madden was very much in the we're going to go with what brung us here. Whether you're talking about the bullpen, the offense. Rizzo pulls one foul, hit it hard, but just foul. And it's a ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, listen, if you're a manager, you want to play the hot hand, but you develop and put together a roster before the series based on guys that'll fit well against the other team. Just because you make a move it doesn't work doesn't mean it wasn't the right move. You got to give credit where credit is due. Sometimes it's the offense of Dave Roberts.
Kershaw with 2 away. Schwarber the runner at second. Dodgers scored in the top of the 1st. And on the ground up the middle, but a man right there. Culberson will take care of Rizzo. The ship pays off. And Clayton Kershaw puts up a 0 after the Dodgers score in the top of the 1st inning. Tonight's aerial coverage is being brought to you by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Great to have you with us tonight on TBS as this series goes to a Game 5. Brian Anderson with Ron Darling, Sam Ryan, our reporter. Tonight's game produced by Scott Cockrell and our director Matt Lipp. Jose Quintana back to work here as we go to the second. First ball swinging. Hernandez deep into center field. That is up and it's in the basket. A home run for Kike Hernandez. 2-0 Dodgers. Hernandez with his first home run of the postseason.
Quintana has faced 6 hitters in the Dodgers lineup. 3 of them have swung at the first pitch, including this one by Kike for a home run. They're trying to be very aggressive with Quintana's pitches.
His first career homer in the postseason comes in Game 5 of the NLCS. Kike Hernandez, who remember was hitting cleanup against Quintana in Game 1, putting Puig in that spot tonight. Dave Roberts dropping Hernandez down, and he delivers in his first at bat, and now Barnes sends one high in the air. That's going to stay playable, and Almora puts that away for out number 1. Back to the home run swing of Kike.
I mean, just teed off on this first pitch fastball from Quintana. You talked about Quintana as a strike throwing machine, especially on first pitch, and that looks like the game of the Dodgers offense so far.
25-year-old Kike Hernandez, now in his 3rd year with the Dodgers, a native of Puerto Rico. He's been heavily involved in some of the relief efforts there. Has been in contact with his family, and he is having a moment right now in Game 5. Charlie Culberson batting with 1 away. Talked about the top 4 in the Dodgers batting order, and then you start to look at the others, the quote-unquote others in the lineup. And if you're a pitcher, a Cubs pitcher trying to get through this batting order, you know you have to settle things in, try to get your pitch count back if possible as you get past the top 4. But night after night, they're giving great at-bats from the bottom of their order. Culberson gets jammed, and a pop-up behind second and out in the grass in shallow right to make the play is Baez, out number 2.
Listen, whenever you're a starting pitcher, you look at a lineup, you look where there could possibly be some outs. You also look at places where you can't get beat. Well, the first 4 hitters for the Dodgers are guys that are going to battle you. You're going to have to go to war with. But the next 5 hitters, 4 hitters in the pitcher spot, should be a place that you should be able to control. Kike Hernandez just changed that, though.
Yeah, he was ready to fire, wasn't he? And Hernandez makes it 2-0 for Clayton Kershaw. Gets his first at bat. Kershaw does have a hit in this postseason. He had a base hit against the Arizona Diamondbacks in Game 1 of the division series. As with everything else where competition is involved, Clayton Kershaw is very serious about his hitting. He studies, he concentrates on his batting practice, getting his bunts down. He wants to be someone to be reckoned with at the plate. He wants pitchers to have to go to breaking balls. He's trying to get into some deep counts when he can.
You show me any pitcher that's a good pitcher, they want to be one of the 9 athletes on the field.
Quintana deals a 1-2 and a little jam shot right back to the mound. Quintana is out of the inning, but Kike Hernandez comes up with his first postseason homer. 2-0 Los Angeles as we head to the home second. Bleacher Report connects you to the teams, players, and moments that matter in sports culture. Download the free Bleacher Report app. Stay dialed into the MLB postseason. Sellout crowd at Wrigley Field. Game 5 of the National League Championship Series, and the Dodgers have 2 runs on the board, getting a run on an RBI from Bellinger in the first, and then a home run from Kike Hernandez in the top of the second inning. And now Kershaw back to work.
I think it's imperative that the Cubs answer quickly to this quick lead by the Dodgers.
Kershaw ready to deal to Wilson Contreras. Contreras, the Cubs catcher, who hit the longest home run of the postseason so far last night. Banged one halfway up the Giants scoreboard in left center. 491 feet they measured it. And he takes a strike. 1-1 the count. There it is. How's your launch angle at 45 degrees? So let's give you a StatCast on that, courtesy of Amazon Web Services. Nearly 111 miles off the bat, off the Vienna beef sign up there. Great advertising.
There you go.
Where's the beef? It's right there. Ground ball picked up by Culberson and throws him out from the seat of his pants. Oh, what a play by Charlie Culberson.
Not only to get to that baseball, but then show you a little style. Catches the ball behind him and from his knees, gets rid of it quickly, and right on time to first baseman Bellinger. What a play.
Oh man, terrific play. He spent most of the season as the starting shortstop in Oklahoma City this year. AAA for the Dodgers. He had just 1 start for Los Angeles at short. Addison Russell into right. It is hit well, but some room out there for Puig, and he makes the catch for out number 2.
I mean, think coming into this series, the most difficult decision the Dodgers had is who to put on the roster when Seager couldn't make it. And it became Charlie Culberson.
That was our headline when we hit the air for the first game, was no Corey Seager. It's a huge loss as the Dodgers rolled through the Diamondbacks, sweeping them 3-0 in that division series. You come to the news that Seager wasn't able to go through any of the workouts with the back injury, and then not on the roster as Baez takes a big swing. But it's been negligible so far. Not saying you're not missing a Corey Seager type player, but those who have covered Culberson and of course Chris Taylor the last 2 nights. There's been a lot of production from that spot.
I think the most important thing for any organization, doesn't matter how good they are, is the depth of the players that they have on their roster.
Javi Baez coming off his 2 homers last night. Down 0-2 to Kershaw. He had come into this first at bat last night 0 for 20 in the postseason. And 0 for his last 23 going back to last year's postseason. And what does he do? He answers it with 2 home runs.
The slider wasn't an awful pitch, almost off the plate, and the changeup was below the strike zone. Kind of golfed it out of Wrigley Field.
Kershaw's got him 0-2 with 2 outs. A ball and 2 strikes. Kershaw, 29 years of age, native Texan. He is a big Dallas Cowboys fan from the Dallas area, Highland Park High School. And gets another big start in the postseason, and he's got Baez way out in front of that one. Barnes blocks it, will put the tag on to secure it, and the side is retired. Kershaw looks good early. His offense has given him 2 runs, and Kershaw has 2 zeros. Bellinger with an RBI double. We'll see him hit when we continue. Take a look at the upcoming schedule presented by Camping World. Game 6 ALCS on FS1. It comes to you tomorrow, 8 Eastern. It'll be the Yankees and the Astros, with the Yankees up 3-2. If necessary, Game 7 Saturday. Jose Quintana back on the mound for the Chicago Cubs. We go to the Dodger half of the third inning. Chris Taylor, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, first three up. Taylor drawing a 9-pitch walk in the first inning. Scored the first run. Scored on the Bellinger double. Taylor has now drawn 5 walks in the 5 games of this NLCS. To go along with his 4 hits, he's hit 2 homers, driven in 3. They found their leadoff hitter, and now he rips that one down the left field line. Foul.
I mean, I've seen a lot of players in my time that have ferocious swings. They usually are the guys that are in the big leagues for a very short time because they don't make a lot of contact. Taylor's just the opposite. A ferocious swing that makes great contact.
And great plate discipline as well. He rarely chases, and in this postseason he has been so locked in that Joe Madden was even referencing Taylor today. He said this guy, between he and Turner, you know, our pitchers, Joe Madden talking now, Jake Arrieta had great stuff last night, and yet there's these long at bats with multiple foul balls, laying all pitches that most big league hitters swing at. Arrieta did pick up the win last night. He pitched a gem, but he still had to work for it and still walked 5 in the game last night. As Taylor pops this one up foul, that'll head to the seats. 2-2 the count. Taylor's been able to lock down that center field job as well. Center field had been a revolving door for the Dodgers. Trying to find the right combination. Really, the offense, the fact that Taylor was such a good leadoff hitter, and then the ability to go from left field to center field. He never played in the outfield until this season. Makes the move from shortstop. Most of the run the Dodgers had when they went 43-7, and that run where they won 21 or went 21 consecutive series without a loss, that was with Taylor in the picture in the outfield.
He said he knew he was a good enough athlete to do it. He said he had to take his reps not only in infield but in the outfield each and every day.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and he lines that one down the left field line. That is a fair ball. It's up and out on a ground rule double. Chris Taylor strikes again, on for the 2nd time. His 5th hit of this NLCS, and it's a leadoff double here in the 3rd.
When you look at his side swing, we've talked a lot about his leg kick. Watch his back foot, though. That back foot moves backwards before he makes his turn and swings. The only hitter I've seen do that consistently is Nolan Arenado for the Colorado Rockies.
Taylor with a double sets up Justin Turner now with nobody out. It's early in this game, but you do get the sense the way Kershaw has started this game with the velocity up and throwing strikes. It's getting desperate quickly here for the Chicago Cubs. This starts to feel like a must inning for Quintana to put up a 0 right now. Remember, the Dodgers make it a 5-inning game anyway for you. If they get a lead after 5, their bullpen has been so good in this postseason. It has been very difficult not just to come back, but to get any kind of production at all. And now Turner drives one into the gap in right center. It's going to be cut off by Zobrist, who bobbles. Taylor will score. Turner goes back to first. It is an RBI single, and the Dodgers are up 3-0. Justin Turner with his 12th RBI of the postseason. That is number 7 of this NLCS.
And we said before in yesterday's game that Turner can beat you a lot of different ways. He can look for a ball to drive out of the ballpark. If he's in an RBI situation, he'll take a fastball and go the other way for the RBI. This is like death by a million cuts by this Dodgers offense so far.
Justin Turner is now 7 for 9 with runners in scoring position in the postseason. And Bellinger with a swing and a miss. 7 for 9, delivering when it counts, and that postseason batting average just continues to rise for Justin Turner. He is among the all-time greats in postseason play with what he's doing now. There's a strike to Bellinger, and it's 0-2. Hector Rondon starting to throw in the Chicago bullpen. Joe Madden understanding the urgency of this moment. That one is going to fall into right center. A base hit for Bellinger. Cody Bellinger is 2 for 2. 3 consecutive hits to start the inning. First and second with nobody out.
Whenever you're looking at a good offensive team, comfortable always seems to be the word I go to. They don't ever look uncomfortable in the box. There hasn't been a lot of pitching inside to the right-hander or left-handed hitters of the Dodgers, and with that comfortability have come great swings.
Pitching coach Chris Bosio on his way out, scoring in each of the first 3 innings. Bellinger's RBI double in the first, Hernandez with the home run, and now Turner with an RBI in this 3rd inning.
All the hits have come by the fastball in this inning. Not enough changing it up with his changeup or curveball by Quintana so far.
Yasiel Puig elevated to the cleanup spot with the left-hander on the mound here tonight. All year long, Puig struggled against left-handed pitching, but he has flipped that script in the postseason. So much so that his manager feels good about him in this run-producing role tonight, hitting 4th. He's up there hacking on the first pitch. Not something he's done a lot of in this series.
I mean, that is a rare swing first pitch by Puig. All of the Cubs hitters have been very aggressive early in the count, including Puig now.
I can remember 2 in this series first pitch swings for Yasiel Puig. Los Angeles has taken this live wire crowd out, and now Puig into right field. A base hit. Turner's going to be held at 3rd. Zobrist with a good throw in, and the Dodgers, sensing a massive inning here, hold the runner at 3rd base. Puig with a single. They are loaded with nobody out.
Curveball by Quintana. Nice hitting by Puig going the other way. Rizzo was trying to fill that hole, but wasn't over enough, and the ball hit on the nose.
And that's going to be the end of the line for Jose Quintana. Madden has no choice. He's going to have to take the ball from his left-hander and go to plan B early. 2+ innings for Quintana. Dodgers have him loaded up with nobody out, and Hector Rondon is coming in. Pitching change at Wrigley. Caps, t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate your favorite team with the latest postseason gear at MLBshop.com. Well, an early move for Joe Madden. Quintana is out, the left-hander is gone, and now it'll be Hector Rondon.
And Hector Rondon is going to have to try to change the trend of the Cubs pen in this postseason. 30 2/3 innings pitched. They've allowed 7 home runs and 26 bases on balls.
Justin Turner, the runner at third. He drove in the third run. You got Bellinger at second and Puig at first, all with singles. There have been 4 hits in the inning, starting with a Chris Taylor double. And here's Logan Forsythe. And he goes. First pitch slider from Rondon. That's his signature pitch. Rondon was left off the NLDS roster, added back to this championship series roster. Gave up a home run in his first appearance to Chris Taylor. That put the Dodgers ahead in that game back in Los Angeles. And he gets an early call here tonight. Did he go? They'll ask. He did. Alfonso Marquez raises the thumb on Logan Forsythe, and it's 0-2.
Rondon was the closer for the Cubs a few seasons ago. Good call by Marquez at first base. Boy, he needs to close the door here.
Cubs are planted back here. They're going to try to turn 2. They'll concede a run, trying to avoid a big inning. And the 0-2 is a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Sizable out that is for Hector Rondon. First batter faced is a punch out.
3 straight sliders from Rondon. All of them picture perfect. Forsythe is a guy that's usually very patient, doesn't swing at any balls out of the zone, but Rondon got him there.
Yeah, tough guy to strike out as well, but the slider was better against Forsythe this time around. Kike Hernandez. Base is full of Dodgers with 1 away. That's a drive into right center field. Hernandez sends one deep, and that ball is gone. It's a grand slam. Kike Hernandez. What a moment for Kike Hernandez. Second homer of the game. 5 RBIs already, and he might have just delivered a knockout punch here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, no standing 8 count. Knockout punch.
And Austin Barnes takes a ball. The Dodgers had 8 grand slams in the regular season. That tied for the most in the majors. Oof. Earned runs aplenty on Jose Quintana. I believe I said 4th inning, 3rd inning, I beg your pardon. Circle the wagons here in the 3rd as the Dodgers put a 5 spot on the board. Kike Hernandez had 1 hit in this championship series prior to his start here tonight. 2 hits and 5 ribbies, and that one hit hard to right. Zobrist is there for the out. Second out of the inning. Back to the home run swing.
Very similar to the home run that Chris Taylor hit off Rondon at Dodger Stadium. This one just deep enough, and the bench reacting. What a moment for Kike Hernandez.
A grand slam for Hernandez. Charlie Culberson takes a strike. Could just feel the air come right out of Wrigley Field after that. Well, it was hot off the bat, and Hernandez gives the Dodgers a 7-0 lead. Stunned crowd here at Wrigley, and Cubs fans everywhere.
7 runs on the board. Cubs have scored 7 runs this entire series.
That's right. Good point. And oh, by the way, Kershaw pitching well early for the Dodgers in his first 2 innings on the mound.
Kershaw in 2017, if you include the NLDS against Arizona, he's only 19-1 when he's given a lead.
A ball and 2 strikes to Culberson. Little teaching moment there, father and son. I'm sure there's a long history of Cubs fandom that he can go to talk to his son about. Culberson, that is going to fall. Base hit. Slaps one through for a single. Charlie Culberson with another hit, his 3rd of the NLCS. And the Dodgers are going to bat around here in the 3rd inning.
Slider off the end of the bat, but line drive from Culberson.
Dodgers have been the dominant team in this postseason, won their first 6 games of the postseason, setting a Dodger franchise postseason record with the 6 in a row. And now Kershaw slaps one foul. Kershaw already getting his 2nd at bat as we play in the top of the 3rd inning. Madden bringing Rondon on to try to put the fire out, and did anything but after striking out his first batter faced. As Kershaw fouls that one away, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. You wonder what goes through the mind of a pitcher, especially one of Kershaw's caliber, with a big lead like this, 7-0. Kershaw pitched twice here on this mound last year, had a terrific game in game 2, and then came back, pitched game 6. The Cubs beat him. Kyle Hendricks ended up as the winning pitcher in that game, and the Cubs clinched their trip to the World Series against the Dodgers right on this field. Dodgers bat around. 6 hits, an RBI from Turner, and a grand slam from Kike Hernandez. 7-0 LA. The 2017 National League Championship Series is presented by Camping World. A lightning strike from the Los Angeles Dodgers. 5 runs in the third, a grand slam by Hernandez. Kike Hernandez with 2 homers in this game in his first 2 at-bats. And it is 7-0. First grand slam for a Dodger in the postseason since James Loney in 2008. And the first multi-homer game in the postseason since Adrian Gonzalez did it in 2013. Now Kershaw back to work. It's going to be interesting to watch Clayton Kershaw stake to a big lead. Might remember in game 1 of the division series, the Dodgers scored 4 in the first against Arizona. And at one point through 4 innings had a 7-1 lead in the game with Kershaw on the mound.
Yeah, but Kershaw ended up giving up 4 home runs in that game and was taken out of that game, so he doesn't want to fall into that kind of scenario tonight.
Zobrist takes a strike.
You know, Brian, the way you don't is that you consider that you don't have that lead. You pitch the same way that you pitched the first 2 innings. I've been on both sides of it, pitching with big leads and giving up a big lead early in a postseason game.
Right.
The former is much better.
And with Kershaw understanding the moment here and a chance to pitch the Dodgers into the World Series. It's not that their bullpen is not well rested, and a win tonight would certainly give them more rest. I just wonder if you're Dave Roberts, you have to start thinking about how long you even go with Kershaw in this game. Right now is not the time for that question, but if you're thinking ahead, you certainly want Kershaw on the mound for game 1 of the World Series. There's a lot of baseball to be played, but those are the discussions that will be happening here as we continue on in this game. Saw Leonis Martin on deck. He'll hit for Rondon as Kershaw misses inside on Zobrist. And a call, strike 3. Kershaw gets the strikeout. Zobrist is gone, and that is strikeout number 3 for Kershaw.
Right along the bottom of the strike zone, and he gets the call from Bill Welke. You know, Brian, 29 years ago, it's the last time the Dodgers went to the World Series. As interesting trip here by Honeycutt. I wonder if something happened to Kershaw.
I saw that wince by Kershaw, but I think the wince was, what's my pitching coach doing coming out here right now? Let's see if we can pick anything up.
Yeah, I did not see anything. That same distinct Kershaw motion. Maybe it came on the follow through. See how he kind of spins on that front foot.
Now Kershaw missed 6 starts with a back injury. Does have a chronic back problem. He did say, though, prior to this series, he feels great. He feels normal was the word he used. Well, maybe a little bit of a wince right there. Yeah, I thought that might have been the reaction seeing his pitching coach come his way, but they are watching their ace closely, right, and being very protective of his innings. Missed those 6 starts, still had a great season on the mound. 18 wins that led the big leagues. The 2.31 ERA, again leading the National League in earned run average. 5th time he's led the NL in ERA, and he's got a chance to win his 4th Cy Young Award.
So we were talking about being on both sides of it. Kershaw with a 7-0 lead 29 years ago. Last time the Dodgers went to the World Series, they went because they beat the New York Mets, and I gave up 6 runs and didn't get through the 2nd. So I know exactly how Jose Quintana feels right now.
Quintana with 2+ innings faced 4 batters in the 3rd, and 6 of the 7 runs will belong to Jose Quintana. We just never know in this game. The Cubs were so confident in Jose Quintana because he had the full rest. It was such a whirlwind for the Cubs in the division series, winning in Game 5, and then the travel cross country and getting rerouted to Albuquerque. Jose Quintana's wife with an irregular heartbeat, and the plane had to land in Albuquerque. They ended up staying on the ground for 5 hours with a pilot change. So it just feels like the Cubs have been playing catch up in those first 2 games, but they finally get to Wrigley Field, and Joe Maddon and the Cubs were extremely confident after the win last night with Quintana on the mound tonight. But that's the way the game goes sometimes. Martin, the pinch hitter, bounces to second. 2 quick outs for Kershaw here in the 3rd inning.
You know, I think the argument always goes on in baseball. What's better, to have the kind of season the Dodgers had and coast into the postseason, or the kind of season the Cubs had, where they were 5.5 games back of Milwaukee at the All-Star break and then went 49-25 to capture the NL Central title? Well, is it better to do it that way, where maybe you've left the tank closed at the end?
Almora sends one to center field, and Taylor makes a beautiful over-the-shoulder catch. Chris Taylor is doing it all. Couple of starts at short. He's been out in center field, and a great catch to end the inning. Side retired in order. Tonight's aerial coverage being brought to you by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. It is quiet at Wrigley Field as the Dodgers have taken this crowd out of it. Batting around in the 3rd inning, scoring 5 runs in the 3rd on 6 hits, including a grand slam by Kike Hernandez. 7-0 Los Angeles as we go to the 4th. And John Lackey is out of the Chicago bullpen.
Lackey only faced 2 hitters in Game 2 out of the pen. He walked Taylor and gave up the walk-off home run to Justin Turner.
Top of the order, Taylor starts it once again. It's the third time already that he has led off an inning. Of course, he led off the game in the first. He walked and scored, led off the third inning, last inning with a double and scored. And here he is again here in the fourth. Taylor making a great catch over the shoulder to take extra bases away from Almora. He's gone from a converted infielder as he bounces one through. That is going to be a base hit. Take a look at tonight's playmakers presented by Alfa Romeo.
I mean, just numbers that are even hard to comprehend. That's how good he's been in the postseason, and a .429 average with 12 RBI and a long way to go.
It is quite the battle right now. If the Dodgers go on to win this game and win this series, who is going to win the NLCS MVP with Turner and Taylor? Turner has 7 RBIs now to Taylor's 3. Got a couple of more hits as well. And this Justin Turner, John Lackey matchup once again. The signature moment of this series, maybe of the postseason. 9th inning, Dodger Stadium, Game 2, walk-off home run. 3-run blast for Justin Turner. What a moment. He said he couldn't remember ever having a walk-off home run. And he does it 29 years to the day that Kirk Gibson hit that famous walk-off home run in the '88 World Series against our colleague Dennis Eckersley. To the day. And a kid who grew up a Dodger fan, Justin Turner, reminiscing that he was 4 years old at his grandmother's house watching that game in 1988. Only dreaming of being in a moment like that. As Turner strikes out. So Lackey gets a little bit of redemption. The first out of the inning. Tommy Lasorda, manager of that '88 ball club, celebrating his 90th birthday recently.
I guess I'll leave you to answer X text when he texts you later tonight.
Eck was a good sport about it in the division series. Actually did a few interviews for the Dodgers as they approach the 30th anniversary of the 1988 World Series next season. As a matter of fact, when we drove into the stadium for the very first time for the workout day, car pulled up, security guard looked in. Eck said, "Yeah, we're here for TBS. I'm the guy who gave up the home run." Go ahead, we've been waiting for you. What a moment for the Dodgers and Dodger fans, and they're hoping this ride continues. Bellinger, a liner into right field, and that's going to fall. A base hit. Cody Bellinger with his 3rd hit of the game already. 2 on with 1 away. A couple of singles from Taylor and Bellinger.
It was interesting the way the Zobrist went after that curveball down, and see how he came in. He wasn't sure if he wanted to get it or not. I think he lost it for a second in the lights and ends up falling in.
John Lackey pitching in the rotation for the Cubs this season. Used him out of the bullpen, did not make the postseason starting rotation. They tried to figure out where the opportunities were to pitch John Lackey in this postseason. Some discussion that he might not make it on the postseason roster. There's been some hints that this will be Lackey's final year. I'm sure if he wants to continue his career, which spans 15 seasons now, that he would have an opportunity to pitch this season. He made 30 starts for the Cubs this season in 30 games. 12-12 record at a 4.5 ERA. Second year as a member of the Chicago Cubs. And regardless of how it finishes for Lackey, if in fact this is his last year, has he ever had some memorable moments in the World Series, especially his first postseason in 2002 with the Angels.
188 big league wins.
Gets a strike on Yasiel Puig. 3-1 the count, with one away in the inning and Forsythe on deck. Puig with 4 hits with runners in scoring position this postseason. He's 4 for 9.
Long ball is what hurt Lackey this season. 36 home runs given up. 4-time All-Star. 3-time World Series champion with Anaheim, Boston Red Sox, of course, and the Cubs.
That skips away from Contreras. Both runners will advance. Now that 0-2 season with the Angels was Lackey's rookie year, and his bench coach on that big league Angels ball club under Mike Scioscia was Joe Madden. You see Contreras clanking that one behind the plate.
Didn't go down the block and just tried to backhand it. We've seen that a couple of times in this series.
Cubs bring their infield in. It's 7-0 Dodgers. 5 of those runs coming in the third. They have scored in each of the first 3 innings, and threatening once again as Puig fouls this one back.
The second at bat that Puig has taken with the infield in.
Kershaw cruising along. Kershaw has faced 1 over the minimum through his first 3 innings. Just 1 walk to Schwarber. That's been it. Has 3 strikeouts. Puig on the ground to third. Scooped up. Bryant coming to the plate and out at the plate. The second out, running on contact, was Taylor. Cubs cut down the lead runner, and 2 men are gone here in the 4th.
Well, infield in. Taylor was running yesterday with the infield in and scored, but this time no place to go. He's inside the line and slides right into Contreras.
Taylor with 2 hits and a walk. Turner has a hit and an RBI. Bellinger with 3 hits. Puig with a single. The top 4 in the batting order. We talked about it at the outset, and they have come up big early for the Dodgers, setting the table for Kike Hernandez, who's had the big game tonight. Forsythe, a swing and a miss. And Forsythe down the left field line. That is going to go off the wall. And this is going to bring in 1 run, maybe a second. Puig slides in. He's safe. It's a 2 RBI double for Logan Forsythe. And the Dodgers keep the pedal down. 9-0 Los Angeles.
First fastball inside, turned on by Forsythe, and against the ivy, comes back to Schwarber, but Puig, who was running on the pitch, scores from first to make it a 2-run double for Forsythe.
Bit of an awkward slide by Puig, but comes all the way around to score. And here is Hernandez now as that gets by Contreras, and over to third goes Forsythe.
This game is sloppy and getting sloppier.
And Lackey trying to give him all he's got here. Lackey is going to turn 39 in 4 days.
I saw Puig kind of slow up and then turn it on.
Hernandez pop up, and Russell will make the catch to end the inning. But the Dodgers in a closeout game of 9-0. They've scored in every inning, and Clayton Kershaw is putting up zeros. Put all of his players in a bubble right now. He certainly would. A little bit of an awkward slide by Yasiel Puig, and we watched him throughout the break, and he's a little dinged up, Ron. That left side bothered him a little bit. Interesting conversation between Justin Turner and Yasiel Puig.
You know, there's a way to win these kind of games, and you got to win them as a professional. No shenanigans. No need to rub it in with the 9-run lead.
He's definitely feeling the effects of that slide. Puig, who has been such a great player in this postseason for the Dodgers. Kershaw with the big curveball on Kyle Schwarber to start this inning. In case you're wondering, you're in luck because Hal Galima is here, and our stats man reminds us that the largest deficit overcome to win a postseason game is 8 runs, which was actually during Hal's first game as a stats man in the 1929 World Series. It was game 4, and the Cubs were part of it. The Cubs led 8-0 in the bottom of the 7th inning, and the A's scored 10 runs in the 7th to win 10-8. The Philadelphia A's.
No iPad for Hal in those days. He was using an abacus.
So if the Cubs turn the miracle today, it will be the largest deficit overcome, down 9-0 to Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. 2-2 to Schwarber. I mentioned Kershaw missed about 6 starts with the back injury. Did come back on September 1st. This Dodger ball club, who won 104 games this season, were in the middle of a long losing stretch during that time. They went in a 17-game window in August and September. They lost 16 of those games. The only game they won in that 17-game stretch was Kershaw's return from the back injury, and he got the win in a victory. Dodgers, the first team in history to win 100 or more games and have a double-digit losing streak. That was the enigma of the Dodgers this season. A ball club that went a 50-game window of 43 wins and 7 losses. They went from June 5th to August 27th between series losses. And a called strike 3. Schwarber is rung up by Kershaw, and it is out number 1. 4 strikeouts for Kershaw. All right, Ronnie, how about StatCast giving us a look, courtesy of Amazon Web Services. Taylor's catch.
Well, great job. Let's see the distance covered, 72 feet. Just caught it in the middle of his glove, in the palm of his glove, and held on. 96 games in the outfield in 2017. Never played one before this season.
Chris Bryant turns on one. That's way back in left field. And this one is up off the scoreboard and out. Chris Bryant finally delivers the long ball, his first of this postseason. And the Cubs are on the board.
Just a cutter in, but left up. Bryant just got enough of it. Wind blowing out slightly to left. And this will be part of the game if the Dodgers go to the World Series. Is the issue for Kershaw. Last 16 2/3 innings, 8 home runs allowed.
He's given up 6 in this postseason. First hit for the Cubs is a home run from Bryant. 9-1 as Anthony Rizzo bats here in the 4th. Now, when you try to analyze why all of the home run balls given up by Kershaw this year, and he allowed the most home runs this season than at any other point, and the 6 home runs this postseason, gave up 4 of those, 4 solo homers in his Game 1 start against the Arizona Diamondbacks. What gives, Ron Darling, with Kershaw and the long ball?
Well, he had a game this summer also where he gave up 4 home runs. This ball not thrown back in, of course, because it's Cubby who hit it. You know, the game is changing. It's ever changing all the time. And I think Kershaw's great, amazing strengths have been down in the strike zone. He's a guy that likes to pitch down and in. He likes to throw cutters in. And that outside of the strike zone is something that he hasn't always had to go to because his strengths were so good in and down. What many of the new hitters today with launch angles, learning to hit off tees when they were kids, they're more low ball hitters in the game than ever. And that is where the strength of the game is, where guys are hitting home runs. So it's been a strength for Kershaw. He's not throwing as hard as he once did. We saw him at 96, 97 at some point. He's more around 92, 93. But down across the board to most hitters is their strength.
There's a shot by Rizzo, but the shift is on, and Forsythe out in the rover position. Takes a hit away from Rizzo. And the defensive alignment of the Dodgers takes another one away.
Now playing in that short outfield is Forsythe, and that's the only way he could make that play. So I think moving forward, which is an interesting thing to even talk about with Kershaw, a guy who went 18-4 this season, is that outside part of the plate, up in the strike zone, more use of the curveball. Those are all things that, not that he has to work on. It's hard to even talk about him working on anything because he's so excellent. But to stay excellent for as long as he wants to, those are things that he can think about.
As he goes into his age 30 season next season for the Dodgers.
He's got a lot of pellets on that arm
now. I mean, the back is a concern. Certainly, he's had to go on the disabled list the last couple of years with that back injury. Tightened up his slider a little bit, more fastballs away. Trying to get hitters to lean in a little bit more. As Contreras lines one fair, that's just inside the line. And a base hit, well played by Puig, will keep Contreras at first. And the Cubs catcher with a 2-out single.
So I guess what I'm saying, nice hitting by Contreras, who has good numbers against Kershaw, is that, hey, listen, a lot of these numbers are coming after that stint on the disabled list. So, you know, he's going to have to get himself 100% strong. So it's hard to judge when a guy's trying to pitch through some pain.
Oh, and also in his defense, watching the way the game unfolded against the Diamondbacks, you know, the Dodgers jump out. They put up a 4 spot in the first. They had 3 more later in the game. Kershaw's got a 7-1 lead. Last thing he wants to do is walk batters. Diamondbacks struck for 4 solo home runs in that game. Not that he's trying to give up homers, but he was pitching in the middle of the strike zone, and it bit him. And he's got a big lead to work with tonight. Chris Bryant goes deep. The Cubs get their first hit, and on the board for the first time. Sweet swing, and Billy Williams greets the patrons as they enter Wrigley Field. There is Billy Williams, one of the great Cubs Always a pleasure to see Mr. Williams. Got his number hanging up on the foul pole as well.
Only a guy who loves golf as much as you would call them patrons.
That's right. Good call. Good point. Yeah, Ryan Sandberg we saw earlier. He threw out the first pitch. Barnes bounces to third. Nice pickup by Bryant, and a good strong throw across the diamond. Out number 1. 5-3 on the putout. Bryant, after his home run, has a gem defensively here against Austin Barnes.
You know, you're seeing this play made much more after the nice backhand by Bryant, the one-hop throw. Used to see this all the time on the AstroTurf, but the fields now, the grass is so low and fast that you can even do it on the grass fields now.
For years here at Wrigley Field, the surface, not only was the grass extremely thick, but also had a big crown in it. That was
well, that's the way
it was
the water,
replaced, right?
That's
the drainage.
Yeah, the drainage of the water. If you tried to throw it in the 70s or 80s like that Bryant did, it would have just stopped.
Right.
Would not made it there.
You'd be falling downhill as well. You used to sit in each of the dugouts, right? You'd sit there, stand there. You could not see from the waist down of the outfield.
That's right.
Because the way the slope was. Now that was redone many years ago, about a decade ago. They flattened the playing surface, leveled it out, became, instead of one of the thickest infield surfaces where ground balls would just go to die, sometimes get lost in the forest of the infield, became a very fast surface here with the new strands of grass. And beautiful ballpark. It's all part of a big renovation. This was even before the new ownership, as Culberson with a swing and a miss. And now that the Ricketts family is involved here at Wrigley Field, this place is starting to change right before our eyes with each passing year. And you know, the inside the ballpark, the scene here looks relatively the same. No bullpen mounds anymore. They're out underneath the stands, but the giant scoreboards, both in left field, left center, and down the right field line. Tom Ricketts, the Cubs chairman.
Yeah, it's the refurbishing of this beautiful cathedral, as you called it, inside and out.
And around the Wrigleyville area, that's where it really shows up. This area out here, which is opposite of the third base and left field line. Cubs have their offices there. The Cubs clubhouse, which has been open now for 3 years, is about as good as you'll ever see in the major leagues. I mean, why would you ever want to leave the Cubs clubhouse? It looks like the best nightclub you've ever seen.
Exactly.
In the round.
It looks like something from Las Vegas.
It's a beautiful scene in there. We got a good look at that clubhouse over the last couple of years with all the champagne spray celebrations, and they're buying up a lot of the properties around the area. There is a facelift going on in Wrigleyville right now, trying to keep this grand old ballpark restored as Kershaw bounces out.
Still a neighborhood team, just a better neighborhood.
Yeah, no question. The E-League Injustice 2 World Championships begin soon on TBS. The Batman, that is the bat of Kike Hernandez, and that bat has produced in a big way here tonight. Hit a solo home run in the second, gave the Dodgers a 2-0 lead, and then what could be a knockout punch, grand slam in the third for Kike Hernandez. The Batman, 25-year-old native of Puerto Rico. That's a good nickname to have if you're a hitter.
Yes, it is.
Kershaw back to work. He has given up 1 run on 2 hits. Chris Bryant, the home run for the Cubs in the 4th. Kershaw pitching with this big lead, has 4 strikeouts. Javi Baez will start it for Chicago, followed by Zobrist in the pitcher spot coming up.
Nothing changes in this game. I can't see Kershaw going more than 5 innings in this game. Maybe 6 tops.
Well, still a lot of baseball to be played. Certainly anything that could happen in this game would be available. But Kershaw, you got to think about the next round as well. The Dodgers have had a ton of rest. And getting back to your point about Los Angeles and how dominant they were in the regular season, that was the major question coming in. Is this a great team or is this a great regular season team? So far they've answered the first 2 parts of that, as Kershaw gets a swing and a miss on Baez. Mark Walter, owner and chairman. Now he has restored the Dodger brand of a winning brand. That was his goal when he took over the ball club. His ties to Chicago here, and watching his Dodgers at Wrigley Field as Kershaw rings the bell on Baez. Gives us a chance to check in with Casey Stern in our Atlanta studios. What do you have, Casey? All right, thanks a lot, Casey. Our friends Joe Buck and John Smoltz, Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal will have the call of that one. It's easy to envision a Dodger-Yankee World Series. Cubs and Astros hope to have something to say about that, of course. Astros back on their home field tomorrow with Verlander on the mound. It is interesting that all 4 teams that won a division series clinching on the road. The Dodgers with a 9-1 lead could do that tonight again, and of course the Yankees will be in Houston. If they're going to go to the World Series, they'll have to clinch on the road as well. Tommy La Stella will pinch hit. Brian Dunsing loosening in the Chicago bullpen. Joe Madden's club clinching their division series on the road in D.C. in that thrilling Game 5. Dodgers swept the Diamondbacks, winning Game 3 behind Yu Darvish in Phoenix. Kershaw pitching in the 5th. 1 away, and Zobrist in the air, right field, slicing, but Puig is over, and he's got it for out number 2. By the way, Ron, I was watching batting practice earlier today. Check this out. Darvish leaning over here, ball's coming right at him, hits him right in the back. He was warming up to go in for his side session, and it was a little scary moment here for a moment.
I will tell you, this happens more than you think on the field. Pitchers are out there throwing. A lot of times they're not paying attention to the guys hitting and batting practice, and you would be surprised how often that happens.
Can we get somebody to just stand with Yu Darvish? I mean, just stand with him, protect him.
That's right.
whoever's job that was is going to have a talking to.
Give the glove to the interpreter. Again, Honeycutt out
Sugar.
there to talk to Kershaw.
I cannot wait to hear from Dave Roberts after the game about these two meetings at the mound.
Yeah.
I'm guessing if you're playing the standard operation procedure here, it's a scouting report on Tommy La Stella, yes? But I don't know. It's a strange time to come to the mound.
In 9-1 game?
And 2 outs in the inning.
I think it's for the same reason it was in the beginning. They've had a couple of winces maybe by Kershaw. Tommy La Stella's been in the league too long to have any kind of conversation about what he brings to the ballpark. You know it going in. Tough-nosed kid, good fastball hitter.
Kershaw's got him down 0-2, and he just does stay alive. La Stella's been Madden's most reliable pinch hitter this year. Calls on him often, can play all around the field defensively as well, gives him some versatility. Haven't seen much of him in this league championship series. The 0-2 from Kershaw. A ball and 2 strikes. All runs allowed by Kershaw this postseason via the home run. Only run on the board tonight, a home run by Chris Bryant. The 1-2. Big curveball, bounce to second base. Kershaw is through 5, and we'll see if that is his final inning. Maybe a tune-up. We'll see. It's 9-1. Kershaw through 5 and only 2 hits. League Championship Series is presented by Camping World. Wrigley Field, Chicago. From the booth that was occupied by Harry Carey for many years. Go from Vin Scully's booth to Harry Carey's booth. These historic ballparks, Dodger Stadium and Wrigley Field. Game 5 of the National League Championship Series.
Fourth pitcher for the Cubs, Brian Dunsing. And Chris Taylor now has led off 4 times already in this game.
Dunsing has been one of Madden's most reliable relievers leading up to Wade Davis. He was raving about Dunsing and how well he has pitched this year. Been a comeback for him as well, resurrecting his career. Taylor on the ground, and oh, what a play by Bryant. And a dig over at first by Rizzo. Boy, how about that? 5-3 on the putout. A nice pick by Bryant and an equally nice pick by the Gold Glover Rizzo.
Great pick. Was coming in first and then it backed him up and just chucked the throw over there. Rizzo's so good at first base. In between hops, still makes the play.
Even Taylor's outs are firm. 2 hits and a walk tonight for Taylor. Leading off for the 4th time in this game. He's 2 for 3 with a walk. Now it's Justin Turner. Turner in the air, left field. And Schwarber just shy of the track for out number 2. Dodgers are up there aggressively swinging. 2 up, 2 down for Dunsing. Now the sidelines here at Wrigley Field, that's what's special about it. Flat, you got the overhang. Second level is right on top of the action. And the weather has been terrific for this postseason. Cubs back in the league championship series for the 3rd straight year. They finally broke through in 2015 and they beat their rival the Cardinals in the division series in 4. Only to run into the buzzsaw of the New York Mets in 15. Great disappointment that year the way it finished, but a lot of hope was building. And then last year, the dream season that is one of those, any baseball fan, even if you're rooting against the Cubs, which is something I know a little bit about from the folks that I live around 90 miles north, it still had one of those moments of a special moment in time in the game of baseball.
Iconic win.
Winning the World Series, and what a World Series it was. 7 games, a classic throughout. That short rain delay in Game 7, and everybody wants a piece of that World Series trophy. 108 years. It was a funny sign here we saw as we arrived at Wrigley Field. Guy held up, a Cubs fan, he held up a sign to the Dodgers saying, Dodgers, 29 years is a long time without a World Series, huh? Throwing a little shade after their long drought. 2-2 to Bellinger.
The Cubs will certainly be a team that will contend for the playoffs for years to come with great young core of players, but they got a few decisions to make this winter. 2/5 of their rotation they're going to have to either resign or replace. Jake Arrieta and John Lackey.
Big swing by Bellinger to end the inning. 3 up, 3 down. Kershaw, he's coming back out. Rooftops at Wrigley, just beyond the wall across Sheffield. Clayton Kershaw back on the mound, starting inning number 6. So any thought that it might be a 5 and dive for Kershaw with a 9-1 lead? The Dodger ace is back out there. He's only given up the 2 hits, the 1 run of Brian Homer, and Almora swings and fouls it away. This is the Cubs leadoff hitter. It'll be Almora, Schwarber, and Bryant.
Pitch count is low enough, only at 79 now for Kershaw.
One ball, 1 strike. Almora on the ground, foul. Now the Dodgers jumping out early tonight, giving Kershaw runs to work with. Got a run in the first on a Bellinger RBI double. Kike Hernandez has hit 2 homers in this game, including a grand slam. Liner into right. Puig is over and makes the catch. Out number 1, Yasiel Puig with the closing speed. By the way, saw the hat of Kike Hernandez there as we showed him. He's got in Spanish on one side of his hat. He's a native of Puerto Rico. And on the other side it says pray for Puerto Rico. On the other side in Spanish translated says don't give up Puerto Rico. Alana Rizzo, the terrific reporter of the Dodgers, helping us with that, and he's done a lot of great work. He's got some fundraising efforts in place after the flooding in Puerto Rico, and continue to contribute to the outlets where you see best fit, and all the flooding and the damage, and they need a lot of help all over. Schwarber drops a bunt down. It's a dandy base hit. Trying to get something going against Kershaw. Kyle Schwarber with an infield bunt single.
I mean, just perfect execution by Schwarber. Hard enough that only the pitcher Kershaw can get it. Ill-advised throw. It wasn't going to be a close play at first.
He put the big shift on, and Schwarber says, if you're going to give me that, we need base runners. He'll take the bunt. You see Rizzo do that every now and then as well. Here's Chris Bryant now. Kershaw's got another Wentz going right there. He's done that a little bit tonight. Just as he stepped on the mound, he's flexing his leg a little bit. Whatever it is, it's not enough for the Dodgers to remove him from the game. But all of a sudden here in the last couple of innings, does not look comfortable. He's flexing his right leg again.
Well, remember, this Kenta Maeda up. He slid hard to get to that bunt. Maybe tweaked it a bit on that. See the grass stain.
Facing Bryant. Bryant had the Cubs' first hit. Came with 1 out in the 4th. He hit 1 out to left. There's a miniature scoreboard there just above the basket. It hit the top of that scoreboard and then caromed out. Anything that clears the basket is a home run here at Wrigley. Bryant was the first batter to hit the brand new scoreboard a couple of years ago when it was unveiled. The big one in left center. The one Wilson Contreras hit last night, and Justin Turner. That's a long way back there. On the ground, Turner's got it. He fires to second, out there, throw to first, not in time. Bryant beats it out. Nice play by Justin Turner.
Well, had to go to his left. Accurate throw here to Forsythe. A nice turn. Bryant just beating it out.
Red Turn 2 is his nickname and his Twitter handle. Middle infielder, part of his infield game. I don't know he would have maybe launched on Twitter after he'd started launching all these home runs, it might have had a different name like Red Launch or something. But that was his identity, right? Playing in the middle infield, ability to turn to, good defensive player, hit for a decent average.
Red October could be someplace he could go too.
It's a good one. Riding the headlines, Ron. He's got a beeline to the MVP of this NLCS. Rizzo pops it foul and out of play. Can't imagine Dave Roberts allowing Kershaw to go more than 6 here tonight. And you might see him go for Maeda if a couple of men get on base with one away. Pitch count at 88. Not a problem for Kershaw, but the Dodgers have been very protective of Kershaw, especially since coming back from the disabled list. And Rizzo lines one, and right there to make the catch is Forsythe. The shift has taken 3 hits away from Anthony Rizzo. Inning is over. Kershaw is through 6. It is 9-1 Los Angeles in Game 5. Well, the Dodger ace gets a handshake from his manager and a victorious hug, he hopes, with a 9-1 lead. That's it for him. 6 innings for Clayton Kershaw. Gives up 3 hits, 5 strikeouts. Got a chance to win once again. 9-1 the score as we go to the 7th inning. And you can't say enough about Kershaw. They staked him to a big lead, but sometimes pitching with a big lead doesn't always result in efficiency, and he kept the pedal down on the Cubs at the plate.
It's better than the alternative, though.
Sure.
Getting 9 points always helps.
Well, and he'll be.
But he looked good. His curveball looked sharp, hitting both sides of the plate. Just a one mistake to Bryant.
Giving up just 3 hits tonight, 1 walk. Yasiel Puig leading off for Los Angeles. Puig, Forsythe, Hernandez. Puig has a hit tonight. He had a single. He scored twice. Scored from first base on a double, and he hits that one over to Russell. And a tag by Rizzo had to come off the bag, but he gets Puig for out number 1. Now we're talking a little bit about Kike Hernandez and some of his efforts, and applauding all the players. Justin Verlander would be one of those guys. All those players who are putting together efforts for relief or aid, fundraising opportunities. Also want to mention Johnny Gomes. Is doing great work right now. The wildfires in Northern California, that is his home, and he's out there with boots on the ground trying to drum up. He's got a GoFundMe page right now. We want to support that as well for Johnny Gomes, who's had his October moments in the past, and good work by some of these players using their platform to raise as much money as they can. And
Johnny from Petaluma, you were mentioning Puerto Rico, Kike Hernandez. Yadier Molina has done a great job. Carlos Beltran, of course, and the ex-great for the Yankee, Jorge Posada.
So the games continue, and it's great to see the Astros back in the postseason, and they've adopted the Boston moniker, Boston Strong. They've gotten the Houston Strong moniker going, and the flooding that devastated that area. So these players doing what they can. It's much appreciated, and it's been a pleasure to watch these guys compete as they do between the lines, and then do great work outside the lines as well. Major League Baseball heavily involved as well, and you can find out all you need to know at MLB.com if you're trying to contribute. Now 2 outs. Let's give you a StatCast courtesy of Amazon Web Service. The big moment in the game, the grand slam by Kike Hernandez. First grand slam by a Dodger in the postseason since 2008. James Loney was the last to do it. How about 5 RBIs on 2 home runs? On a day when Dave Roberts told us before the game he wants to slide Hernandez out of the cleanup spot, put Puig in there, the big run producer, and wouldn't you know it, he gets 5 RBIs. Kike Hernandez batting in the 6th spot in the order.
Well, the big question for the Dodgers, they hold on here, is Seager, if he's going to be healthy for the World Series, because that will give them even more depth in that already great lineup.
Well, Seager is participating in baseball activities right now back in Los Angeles. As you see, Kershaw and Hill, 1 and 2 starters for the Dodgers in this postseason. That's going to be a major question going into the World Series. If the Dodgers hang on to win this game with this big lead. Hernandez aboard once again. Don't want to give it away too early here. Topics to discuss for our friends in the studio, and you can head over to TBS Facebook and Twitter right now. You can watch the bottom of the 7th inning. Casey, Shep, Pedro, Jimmy, Ryan Howard is our guest the last couple of days. Austin Barnes takes one for a strike. I think what we've learned here from the Dodgers, though, is that they're able to cover Seager to some extent with Taylor's ability to play short, and with Culberson already a very good defensive player anyway. Not afraid of the moment. He hasn't been. He's got a few hits in this LCS. He's made excellent plays at shortstop. So the depth of the Dodgers really showing up here.
Well, but Seager is a special player. Dodgers went 92 and 42 when he was their shortstop. 50 games over 500. One of the bright young players of the game. Hey, you played us that replay of the Facebook Live last night on our 2.5-hour trip from Wrigley Field back to the hotel.
That 2.5-hour 9-mile trip. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
That was good. Those guys did a nice job.
They did. They were having fun.
Contreras was ready to head to the dugout. Dunsing thought he had Barnes rung up. Not sure why it didn't go that way. Give him a little slack, I guess, but this one was true.
Usually in these kind of games, anything close,
or in any game, if it's in the strike zone, it's
that's true.
Should be a strike, maybe. There you go.
Make up.
Yeah.
There you go.
He got it wrong, but right the second time. Milwaukee rings up Barnes to end the inning. Stretch time at Wrigley, and look at our game summary. A 5-run third inning, the big inning for the Dodgers. They batted around, got a grand slam from Kike Hernandez, and now lead at 9-1. Brian Anderson with Ron Darling, and a lot of ways you could go here. Kenta Maeda is in for Kershaw, but the Dodger ace was good, and the Dodger offense was fantastic so far.
Well, he was solid. Turner drove in another run, but Kike Hernandez, this has been his game with 2 home runs, a grand slam, and 5 RBI.
Part of the story with the Dodgers is contributions they're getting from so many different players in this 2017 postseason. Saw it in the division series. One day it's Justin Turner, the next Logan Forsythe. Then you had the Yu Darvish, Cody Bellinger moment in Game 3. It's a very balanced ball club, and you wouldn't say there are household names throughout this lineup. Top 4 about as good as it gets, but you got a lot of role players that are performing at the top of their game right now together as a unit for the Dodgers offensively. They've been a very difficult lineup to get through for any pitching staff. That ball's hit well, but that's going to hook foul. And Contreras hit a 1-2 count on Maeda.
You know, every team in baseball now has the analytics are so important for their team. But the ones that do it the best are the ones that use those analytics and are able to adapt them into the game to the players that are using them. And doesn't it seem to you that the Dodgers seem to be doing it better than anyone else right now, or at least in the National League, with our conversations with Dave Roberts? And
Maeda strikes out Contreras. Now the bullpen continues to be lights out. That was one area that the Dodgers addressed, and They have one of the best bullpens going right now. For more on that, let's check in with Sam Ryan.
Yeah, Brian and Ronnie, when speaking of the depth of this Dodgers bullpen, I had a conversation with Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach for the Dodgers. Told me for Tony Watson, Tony Cingrani, he attributes their success in part to a change of scenery, but said really Kenta Maeda has been the wild card out of the entire group. Started 25 games this season, only 4 relief appearances in the regular season. Says he's been able to thrive out of the bullpen.
It has been an interesting piece to the puzzle for this bullpen that is an out away from 21 consecutive scoreless innings this postseason. Think about that.
Well, I think the thing about it, though, is that in the past, when you've looked at the Dodgers, and I've done their games when they've been in the championship series or the division series, the real only weakness you saw in those teams was the bridge to Jansen. And I think because of the acquisitions, the Watsons and the Cingranis and others, and then the performance of Maeda that Sam just talked about, that is one of their strengths now of the ball club.
Now with 3 innings from the bullpen tonight, the Dodgers have a chance to break a record, a postseason record for consecutive scoreless innings. Right now at 20 2/3, Maeda can get it to 21. The record was set by the 77 Yankees, 22 2/3 innings of scoreless ball. That's how dominant they have been, as Baez with a swing and a miss.
77 Yankees who beat the Dodgers in the World Series that year. I left Brandon Morrow off my list of the relievers for the Dodgers who've just been so excellent.
Yeah, Morrow, outside of Jansen, might be the biggest bright spot this bullpen has had, as Baez with a swing and a miss. Are you talking about a ball club with a massive payroll? They've been able to maximize their 40-man roster, their depth unmatched. That was the big discussion about the Dodgers in spring training in Arizona, was how deep they are on so many levels. Of course they are analytics minded, and the president of baseball operations, Andrew Friedman, their general manager, Farhan Zahidi. And that's a big part of their program, going through the percentages. So when you talk to Dave Roberts, who is the conduit between that group and us, he speaks in percentages.
He does. Probabilities.
Been a good mix this year.
But with all the probabilities and all statistical analysis, still the human element that you've got to be able to manage too, and that's a big part of it.
Mark Walter, the owner and chairman, he has opened up the pocketbook, and there's a called strike 3. Maeda with a 3-up 3-down inning. 21 consecutive scoreless innings for the Dodger bullpen this postseason. It's 9-1. play of the game, and perhaps the swing that sends the Dodgers to the World Series. Got a big lead, 9-1. Kike Hernandez with the grand slam. At that point, he made it 7-0. Part of a 5-run third inning where the Dodgers batted around. Kike Hernandez with 2 home runs tonight, 5 RBIs. He's also walked. Mike Montgomery is on to pitch for the Chicago Cubs. There is a double switch. If you're still keeping that scorebook at home, God bless you if you are. Ian Happ takes over at second base as you take a look at the numbers on Montgomery. Try to get a couple of innings out of Montgomery. And Happ will be due up second in the bottom of the 8th inning. There's Happ. Anticlimactic Game 5 after what was a thriller in Game 4. Cubs winning for the first time and the first Dodger loss of the postseason. Had won 6 straight to start the MLB postseason. But that big swing by Hernandez flipped this game on its ear quickly in the 3rd inning.
Well, coming into this game, the Cubs were hoping to take this one to put a little more pressure on the Dodgers if they had to go back to LA, but doesn't look like that's happening.
Culberson in the air, deep center. That is going to bounce off the ivy. And Charlie Culberson is thinking about third base. He is on his way, and he is in there with a triple. Charlie Culberson, welcome to the party. Culberson with 2 hits tonight gives him 4 for the National League Championship Series. Did not start the last 2 games. Wow, what a pull that was. Spent the whole year in AAA, a September call up. Now he gets a big spot in the NLCS, and he's come through for him.
Single, 2 doubles, and a triple now for Culberson in this series.
Remember, he had a sacrifice fly that tied the game, Game 1, with Kershaw on the mound. Everybody wondering what kind of offense they were going to get minus Seager's bat. Here's Kyle Farmer as an RBI in this postseason with a sacrifice fly. Another guy that's been a good part of the year in AAA.
Culberson also in the middle of that play that was reversed with Contreras at the plate when he stuck out his leg to make the out at home plate.
Farmer on the ground. Bryant will make the play to first. He looks the runner back. Culberson has to stay put after his leadoff triple, 1 away. Back to the top of the order, and Chris Taylor. 2 more hits tonight, 6 in the LCS. A couple of home runs. Each of his home runs put the Dodgers ahead.
He's also walked 5 times in this series.
Yasiel Puig and Turner Ward. That's a guy that deserves a lot of credit right there, the Dodger hitting coach. If not just for teaching the art of hitting to these big league Dodgers, but dealing with Yasiel Puig on a nightly basis just like this.
That alone, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. I'm having issues.
The Dodgers fans know it well, but if you're not following the Dodgers, Puig is attached at the hip with Turner Ward. Typically after a home run, Yasiel Puig will sneak up on Turner Ward and give him a kiss on the cheek.
Well, didn't you tell me that Turner Ward told Yasiel Puig, she said, listen, if I'm out of order, you can call me out, but I'm able to do the same thing to you.
That was one of the breakthroughs. Dave Roberts gets a lot of credit for unlocking the riddle of Yasiel Puig, probably the best way to put it, the enigma that he was. But Dave Roberts will quickly point to the direction of that man, Turner Ward. Puig was sent down to the minor leagues last year, and it was not a guarantee he was going to be called back up nor be on the postseason roster. Matter of fact, we did a game on TBS in late August. Asked Dave Roberts about Yasiel Puig. This is last season now. And we asked him about Puig. He goes, my 25, I'm comfortable with. And Yasiel Puig's not a part of it. Very nearly traded last season. Taylor grounds out for the second out of the inning. Culberson still at third base. But they were patient with Puig, and they are reaping the rewards. Albeit Turner Ward has to deal with the madness. He's probably looking up how many innings are left in this.
Dave Roberts told us that at some point the organization and the team bet on Yasiel Puig. That's the best bet they made.
Now we saw a moment that we captured between innings earlier with Justin Turner talking to Puig. This was after he scored the run. Don't know all the details of that conversation, but it was a pretty emphatic conversation from Turner to Puig, and could have been about the slide at home plate, maybe running with a big lead, or the histrionics in a game like this. Keep them down, keep them contained. I don't know what it was, but it was a mentor type conversation with Yasiel.
Well, Turner has become almost like a de facto captain of this team. You know, he's a guy you look to who always gets his work done. If he's 0 for 4 for 4 or 4 for 4, has the same demeanor.
By the way, Turner is climbing the list for Dodger postseason RBIs. His RBI that came as part of that 5-run third was his 24th in the postseason. That matched him with Ron Cey for second all-time. Duke Snider is the all-time leader. Those were World Series only games back then for the Duke of Flatbush. Duke Snider had 26 postseason RBIs. Turner getting a lot more opportunities, but he's taking care of business when he gets the chance. And if he keeps going like this, he'll be the all-time postseason RBI leader. There was that conversation. Well, just a quick little meeting there, as if a little reminder for Yasiel.
You know, they got plenty of guys on that bench, though. That's part of their depth also, with Curtis Granderson and Chase Utley.
Yasiel Puig came into this game with 5 hits in the LCS. He has 1 here tonight. Hitting over 400 in the postseason. OPS over 1,200 in the postseason. Turner on the ground, ranging over is Russell. And that's up the line. Rizzo with the catch and the tag. What a nifty first baseman he is. Nice play by Rizzo. Inning is over. We're marching our way to the finish line. Dodgers lead 9-1. The 2017 National League Championship Series is presented by Camping World. Yeah, maybe next inning. Cubs fans ever hopeful. It's looking more and more like a victory lap for the Los Angeles Dodgers after a 5-run third. They lead 9-1. 6 defensive outs to get for the Dodgers to head back to the World Series for the first time since '88.
You know, we've talked about the bullpen and how strong it's been in the postseason for the Dodgers. None stronger than Brandon Morrow. Entire postseason, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 81 pitches. Don't get much more economical than that.
And you're talking about some multi-inning outings as well. Getting 4 outs at times for Brandon Morrow has emerged as a real force in front of Kenley Jansen in the Dodger bullpen. Ben Zobrist leads off for the Cubs. And just talk about a little bit from a manager's perspective, right? So the Dodger bullpen in this league championship series is averaging just shy of 13 pitches per inning. Everybody in their bullpen on average a little less than 13 pitches per inning.
Well, I think what that really shows is that the stuff that they have the ability to get outs within the strike zone. We talk about that all the time, that most good teams, their lineups do not chase anymore. They're trying to not chase as much. So you have to have the ability to get people out within the strike zone. And what that takes is extraordinary stuff. And that's what this bullpen for the Dodgers has.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Zobrist. Ian Happ will hit next, and a swing and a foul. Could call them the Fantastic Five. Those with the Dodgers in the lead that will pitch. And you're talking about a couple of guys who they acquired via trade at the trade deadline. The 2 Tonys, Watson and Cingrani. Adding to those pieces, and then Morrow already in place in that role as he gets a strikeout of Zobrist for the first out of the 8th. And then the real wild card was Kenta Maeda, who just dominates right-handed pitching. And so Maeda now becomes that major weapon against a string of the batting order when you have 3 or 4 right-handed batters in a row. And that's where we've seen Maeda in this postseason. There was a big decision to make for Dave Roberts whether it was going to be Maeda or Alex Wood to come out of the bullpen.
Also, his velocity has kicked up as he's gone to the bullpen. Cubs' number 8 place hitters in the postseason now, after the strikeout of Zobrist, are 0 for 31. No major league team has ever gone hitless with as many at bats in any slot over an entire postseason. I mean, it's rubbing salt in the wound, but gee, it's just one of those numbers you have to be in on.
One of those many areas of struggle for the Chicago Cubs. Yeah, 46 out of 52 batters. Look at that. Only 6 batters have reached base in this series against the bullpen. What a run. So while we throw some numbers out on the Cubs and their lack of offense, let's put a bell on the Dodgers bullpen and their pitching overall. That has been a big part of keeping the Cubs offense down.
Well, I think that's the kind of planet we live in now, where we want to find a fault with some part of the Cubs game. Really should just be giving credit to the Dodgers because they played a great series. Their lineup has grinded out at bats. Their bullpen has been almost hitless. Their starting pitching has been strong. You know, when it comes to a series like this, it's really no one's fault that you lose to the Dodgers because they've gotten so much production.
Full count to Happ, batting for the first time. Now, one question I want to throw at you, because we heard from Joe Maddon, and one of the themes that we hear about the Cubs, and Maddon has expressed this as well, but he talked about the World Series hangover. The first half of the season, the Cubs really struggled. They just couldn't get going after going through that very emotional World Series win last year as Happ rings one to center field, a base hit. And a clean single for the rookie, who had a terrific year at the plate for Chicago. So we talk about the World Series hangover, and that you have to feel like that was real, right? But
yeah.
how about the division series hangover for the Cubs? The travel, going the 5 games, the rain out. What kind of effect really do you think had on the Cubs going into the LCS?
I think it had minimal effect, and the reason I say that is because how well the Dodgers played. Even at the top of their game, the Cubs would have had a handful with the Dodgers. You know, I think early on in the season when I was talking to Joe Madden, he talked about that malaise, that hangover from last year's World Series championship. He said the proudest he was is that he was patient with his ball club. He kind of let them come around. He gave guys time off, days off, to try to get healthy, things like that, so that in the second half they caught fire and went 49-25. But in that second half, they averaged almost 6 runs a game, and that really is the reason that they've lost this series, is that their best hitters have not been able to get the job done in this series. That's as simple as that.
And Madden continuing to ride those players that brought him to this place, brought the Cubs here. All these very recognizable players that many of whom were on that World Series winning team last year. Only the Indians had a better record in the second half than the Cubs.
And that took 22 in a row to get that record.
All right, Cubs won 49 games in the second half. They were 5.5 back at the All-Star break. They jumped out quickly in the second half right after the break to catch the Brewers and pass Milwaukee. And then they just kept the hammer down as Morrow strikes out Almora for the second out. Cubs in the second half had the 2 of the 3 best starters ERA in the second half. Hendricks really turned it on in the second half. Arrieta the same. Steven Strasburg led all National Leaguers in ERA in the second half, but they did get the great pitching from their starters. And Wade Davis was terrific. Their bullpen actually was pretty good leading up to Wade Davis, especially with Carl Edwards. He's had his troubles here in the postseason. But they hit the skids at the wrong time, and the Dodgers are responsible for much of that. Shift is on for Schwarber with 2 away. Tony Cingrani looking like he'll get perhaps the 9th inning. Brandon Morrow trying to get the Dodgers 1 inning closer, and a swing and a foul on Schwarber. Morrow's story is terrific as well. His 11th season in the big leagues, and he's pitching in his first postseason. He's a type 1 diabetic. It is remarkable the way he's been able to navigate his career that looked like it was on the brink in spring training. He was not pitching well in AAA this year. Had a clause in his contract to get called up to the big leagues, or else he could have become a free agent. Dodgers gave him that chance, and did they find lightning in a bottle with Morrow, who strikes out 3 batters. He's been doing that all postseason long. What a pitcher. The postseason show on TBS presented by the Lincoln Motor Company. Casey and the gang standing by patiently, ready to talk about this one, this series. And of course, the Yankees and the Astros will pick back up tomorrow for Game 6. Yankees lead in that series 3-2.
The series that has been, huh?
Great pitching matchup tomorrow. Severino and Verlander as the Astros try to get it to a Game 7 on Saturday. Montgomery back on the mound to face Bellinger. What are your thoughts about that series with the Yankees and the Astros?
Well, I'm just thinking, the Yankees had to win the wild card. They lost the first 2 in Cleveland, won the series. Lost the first 2 in Houston, have a chance to win that series. Some magic going on for those Yankees, but boy, great players in Houston, and they'll be at home in front of their home fans.
A swing and a miss by Bellinger. Montgomery with a strikeout. First out of the inning. Bellinger with a 3-hit game. He'll finish 3 or 5. Montgomery will always have his moment to remember at the final out in the World Series at Game 7.
Mike Martinez with a little ground ball to Chris Bryant. 5-3 on your scorecard. 108 if you're counting.
Now you got to give Theo Epstein, Jed Hoyer, the Ricketts family, the ownership, great job here changing the culture of the Cubs and turning them into a winner as Puig bounces one through for a base hit. That's his 2nd hit of the game.
This little sinking fastball from Montgomery, well placed here by Puig up the middle. I think the Cubs are going to have to be in the market for a starting pitcher. They can either pick a mid-level guy, but really the 3 guys that I see coming out are Arrieta, their own Arrieta, Yu Darvish, and if he opts out, Tanaka for the Yankees.
Yeah. Now that's going to be an interesting offseason for Chicago. By the way, you see Roberts there just telling Yasiel Puig, whatever you do, do not run. Stay right there, Yasiel. That is the brightest red light you could possibly put up for Yasiel Puig. It was interesting hearing from Jake Arrieta prior to his start yesterday, the day before. Forsythe in the right field. Arrieta he answered the questions.
Yeah,
he was talking about his time here in Chicago, and he was willing to go there. I was not sure he would go there, having to make a start yesterday for Game 4 of this series. But they turned him around, and give him a lot of credit as well. What changed Arrieta from his time in Baltimore to what he became, a Cy Young Award winner with the Chicago Cubs. He got a great ovation on his way out. Jed Hoyer, general manager.
Well, it was great work by the Cubs and his pitching coach Chris Bosio. Great work by Jake himself to turn himself around, where all the work he's done not only on the mound but off the mound with his diet and his workouts and all those things are going to make him a very attractive free agent.
Arrieta winning yesterday's game, 3-0 in elimination games for Jake Arrieta as a member of the Chicago Cubs. Only gave up 3 runs in 21 plus innings. And by the way, Arrieta's win yesterday was his 5th postseason win, which tied him for the most in Cubs history. Hernandez, a high fly ball. Is he going to do it again? Kike Hernandez has done it again. His 3rd home run of the game. It is a 2-run home run, and Hernandez has hit 3. Ties a major league record for most home runs in a game in a championship series. Last time it was done, Adam Kennedy of the Angels. Bob Robertson on that list. George Brett on that list. Whoa. And now Kike Hernandez with a 3 home run game. Wow. What a performance. A day he will never forget. Boy, 2-run home run, 7 RBIs for Kike Hernandez to make it 11-1.
7 RBIs for Kike Hernandez. The Cubs have scored 8 runs in this entire series.
7 RBIs is a new league championship series record for a single game. It had been 6. There's a Cub on that list. Aramis Ramirez did that in 2003. Will Clark, Johnny Damon, each with 6 RBI games in an LCS. And now Hernandez with 7, and now Barnes into left center with a base hit. Record-setting night. What?
And the best reactions you've ever seen.
That Dodger dugout erupting along the first base side.
Ball was thrown back on the field.
Oh,
Chris
nice.
Woodward, the third base coach, got it.
When the Wrigley tradition really pays off for a player with a historical night, throwing the ball back on the field. There's a line shot back up the middle, base hit for Culberson. Charlie Culberson with 3 hits. Culberson 3 for 5 tonight, hitting in the 8th spot in the batting order. And now Jock Peterson is going to pinch hit. I have to laugh because Dave Roberts, you know, he pours through the lineup with us, which is great. We get to dive into the manager, talk about why he's making moves. He goes, you know, I feel like we need a run producer in that cleanup spot. So he moved Hernandez out of the cleanup spot. And he drives in 7.
And he became the run producer.
Sets a new LCS record with 7 RBIs. Maybe he's found a spot in the 6 hole.
Boy, that's great to see. What a night. Magical.
'25-year-old Puerto Rican Kike Hernandez. Guy that has played all over 7 different positions this year. He played every position that you can play in a baseball game except pitcher and catcher. Last year proved himself as a versatile utility piece. Dodgers got him as part of that big deal, 7-player deal that included Deke Gordon. Miami Marlins, originally with the Astros, then the Marlins, now in his 3rd year with the Dodgers, and he has had a night that will live forever for him.
But when you see players who have big nights, sometimes they try to humble it off, like, well, you know, I had a good night. Not Kike.
No, he's all in.
He can barely believe it. Nice to see.
Jock Peterson at a 2-2 count. It is 11-1 Dodgers. And the clock is ticking to a trip to the World Series. Kenley Jansen for good measure, and what would be a tune-up outing for Jansen. Kershaw goes 6 tonight, in line for the victory. And the biggest smile you can have from Kike Hernandez. Swinging a foul by Peterson. Not much for that man to do at this point or in this series. The Dodgers have just had the Cubs number so far. 3-2. Peterson grounds it foul.
Just tells you the difference kind of a year can make, as the Dodgers had to watch the Cubs celebrate after the Cubs won Game 6 of the League Championship Series against the Dodgers last year, and they're turning the tables a year later.
Yeah, beating Kershaw celebrating here at Wrigley Field, the Cubs. And Dave Roberts pointed out, said, look, you know, when it was all said and done, you look back on it, the Cubs were a better team. They were a better team. They outlasted us. They earned their trip to the World Series. But Roberts, with complete confidence, wouldn't call it arrogance at all, but extreme confidence in his ball club this year, stating the fact that he thinks they are the better team. They are the best team, as a matter of fact. There is a strikeout, and the inning is over. You can call him Senor Octubre. Kike Hernandez with 3 home runs in the NLCS Game 5. What a night. 3 homers, 7 RBIs for Hernandez. It's 11-1. Brought to you by State Farm. State Farm, here to help life go right. What a story tonight. The Dodgers emphatically marching their way to the World Series. They are up 11-1 as Bryant faces Kenley Jansen. Jansen in to get some work here in the 9th inning. He has been the dominant force in the middle of a dominant bullpen. By the way, if the Dodgers bullpen here and Jansen right now, if he finishes the game and the Cubs do not score, the Dodgers will set yet another record for the most consecutive scoreless innings in a postseason from a bullpen. They are 2 outs away from passing the Yankees as Bryant sends one out to left field, and there is Kike Hernandez to make the catch. What a scorebook moment for Kike Hernandez, and if you've got that on your card, that is one to keep. 3 home runs from the 6th batter in the lineup. Solo shot in the 2nd, grand slam in the 3rd, 2-run home run in the 9th for Hernandez. A day after the anniversary of Reggie Jackson's 3 home run game against the Dodgers in Game 6 of the '77 World Series. Hernandez is the first Dodger ever to hit 3 home runs in a postseason game.
More and more records
Jansen facing Anthony Rizzo. It's impressive how many fans have remained here at Wrigley Field. They want to see one last go around. It'll be a huge ovation for the Cubs, celebrating another division title for Chicago, back-to-back division championships. And they're staying to the last moment as Rizzo hits a high fly ball that is going to send Puig to the track, and he's got it for the out. Out number 2. Kike Hernandez hasn't missed much. Missed the high five. Look at Puig's like back in. That was after the first home run. And so this time around, Puig says, no, no, no.
You don't know how to high five. That's about all he hasn't done right tonight. Puig is saying if first fly ball to left field, second fly ball to center field, this one's coming to center field.
You're next. Taylor. Cubs down to their last out.
That's Mr. MVP right there.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at Justin Turner, he got my vote. And tremendous postseason overall, but especially here in the League Championship Series. We'll have all of that following the game, the unveiling of the MVP, and handing out the Warren C. Giles National League Championship Trophy. And the Dodgers, who watched the Cubs celebrate in Game 6 of the NLCS last year right here on this field, are about to turn the tables in 2017. Line shot, and it is caught, and the ball game is over, and the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the pennant. The Dodgers are headed to the World Series for the first time in 29 years. What a night for the Dodgers, and what a team they have been. The team with the best record in the major leagues this season, 104 wins. A sweep of the Diamondbacks in the division series, and they take down the Chicago Cubs in the League Championship Series in 5 games.
3 home runs by Kike Hernandez, a record set with his 7 RBI, a record now set for the bullpen, 23 consecutive scoreless innings in the post, and on their way to the World Series.
An 11-1 final. And for the Cubs, the end of the line, another successful season, a division title. And it ends right here at Wrigley Field as the Dodgers celebrate their first pennant since 1988. Kenley Jansen finishes it off. Kike Hernandez with his historic night, 3 home runs and 7 RBIs, and Clayton Kershaw picking up his 6th postseason win. That ties Bert Hooton for the most all time for a Dodger pitcher.
Well, a BB off the bat of Contreras, and Culberson, appropriate, he makes the catch. Didn't know if he was going to be on the roster. He was, had a big series, as well as everyone else in a Dodger uniform. And there's our vote, I think, for Mr. MVP. What a series.
Outfielders come together. Chris Taylor had a big series as well. Taylor with 2 hits tonight, scored a couple of runs, and Kike Hernandez, boy, he is going to have a lot to say after this game. The Batman, Senor Octubre, with a 3-homer night in the NLCS. Boy, what that means for Kike and the rest of Puerto Rico, and Kershaw, yes, going to the World Series for the first time in a stellar career. And the reigning National League Manager of the Year, Dave Roberts, coming together with his coaching staff.
Well, that's means so much to those guys who put in so much time with their players. And the manager of that 1988 team, Tommy Lasorda.
Let's send it down to Sam Ryan, who is with tonight's winner, Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw, this team has been close before. Lots of hugs, high fives. You've been in this position to get the ball when you knew what was on the line to pitch this team to the World Series. How do you sum this moment up?
It feels good to hear World Series. It's been a long time coming for this team, and I'm kind of at a loss for words right now. I never thought in a million years I get to play in a World Series. So I know we got 4 more to go. I'm excited about it, but right now it's tough to sink in.
The hug from your teammates, the hug from Dave Roberts, your manager, as you exited the mound. We saw the velocity up a little bit there early. How amped up were you when you took the mound?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the best environment, one of the best environments to pitch in. You know, we knew that the Cubs were going to bring their A game today, and I mean, we can't say enough about what our guys on offense did. Kike, I mean, just he told me he had my back today. He told me right before the game started, I got your back today, and he came through. And just this team, it's what it's all about, man. We just it's a different guy every night, and I'm just thankful I'm a part of it.
They talk about this team, the difference. What is the difference in this team this year?
You know, I don't know how to compare it to years past, but I just know that everybody has a role and everybody executes, and it just seems like there's a different guy every night. There's a different superstar every single night, from Chris Taylor to Kike to JT to Belly to, I mean, it's unbelievable, and it's a pretty special group to be a part of.
Game 1 of the World Series, Tuesday. How does that sound?
Sounds really good. I'm very excited for that one.
Congratulations.
All right, thanks.
Back to you guys.
Well, he is the Dodger ace. He got the ball in a closeout game, and he did not disappoint. Had the big lead, but he went out there and did the job with only 1 run allowed.
Yeah, he looked fabulous in this game, like we said, and Sam said his velocity was up. What I liked is that every pitch he was throwing for strikes. He looked vintage Kershaw. And relief for Kershaw to finally get to the World Series. He has been a generational type pitcher with the 3 Cy Youngs. He might be on his way to his 4th Cy Young award. He'll certainly be a finalist. There's not a selfie stick long enough for that shot.
The team picture on the field at Wrigley, on the same field where they watched the Cubs celebrate last year. And that is one happy group that is headed to the 2017 World Series, either to match up against the Yankees or the Astros. And it is very easy to go in your mind to the Dodger-Yankee rivalry all those years and so many World Series matchups. And the Yankees are now 1 win away from getting there as well. Whoever it will be, the Dodgers are going to be a very formidable opponent to try to match up against. Kike Hernandez can hardly breathe down in the scrum. Great job, Ron. A pleasure to be with you for this NLCS, my friend.
You're the best, Brian. Best to our man Hal on our left here, Hal Galimo.
Great work by our terrific crew, led in the truck by Scott Cockrell, producer and director Matt Lipp. Our final score, the Dodgers win it 11-1, and they're headed to the World Series. Congratulations to the Dodgers, the 2017 National League champions. We'll be back later with the National League Championship Trophy presentation. For now, we check in with Casey in our Atlanta studios. So long from Chicago. The Dodgers are going to the World Series. are anxious to get to. We are in the dungeon of Wrigley Field here, and we're here with the Chief Baseball Officer, Joe Torre. And let's just introduce the rest of our folks here. Mark Walter, of course, Chairman and owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Stan Kasten is the President and CEO. President of Baseball Operations, Andrew Friedman, and his baseball operations team next to him is Farhan Zahidi, the General Manager. Peter Gruber with the ownership group is here as well, and the manager, Dave Roberts. So let's get this moving here at exciting times, and let's turn the mic over to Joe Torre.
Thank you, Brian. On behalf of the Commissioner's Office at Major League Baseball, I want to present the Warren C. Giles National League Championship Trophy to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Nice job.
Well, Mark, I want to talk to you guys. Let's go down the row here, but start with you, Mark. 5.5 years of ownership here, and your goal was to bring the winning brand back to the Dodgers. Now this brand is headed back to the World Series for the first time since '88.
Yeah. First of all, I want to make sure we congratulate the Cubs and the Ricketts family. World champions 3 times in a row in the NLCS. I mean, what more can you say? They've done an incredible job, and they need our congratulations. Second, I really want to thank all the coaches, the team, all the players. Incredible job all year long. We've got more to go, but this is a good milestone. And to all the fans who've supported us, it's been a little bit of a long drought, but we are bringing a World Series back to LA.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Champagne Cup. That was Yasiel Puig, courtesy of that. Andrew, can you come on over here and let's get by Stan and the trophy? And this ride for you, coming from the Tampa Bay Rays, building that organization as you did. Mark's opened up a lot of the purse strings, and yet you've produced so much talent at this level for manager Dave Roberts. Talk about your ride and all the people you want to thank in your baseball ops department.
Yeah, I can't thank ownership enough, Stan Kasten, for the support they've given us. What's incredible about this accomplishment is the number of fingerprints that are on it, from our pro scouting department to our international department, our player development. Everyone has had a hand in helping to sculpt this roster, and the depth and the talent that helped us in the regular season obviously helped us get to this point.
Well, congratulations, Andrew. Headed to the World Series again, did it with the Tampa Bay Rays. Dave, can I get you for a moment, sir? Dave Roberts, the reigning National League Manager of the Year, and now you are a World Series manager as of a few days. Your thoughts?
You know what, BA? It's a special group from the top to the bottom, and for the city of Los Angeles, it's been a long time, and it took a lot of people to get to where we are right now, and we're going to celebrate this moment. Everyone in this room earned it. They're celebrating right now, but we understand we have 4 more wins to go, but they're having a good time, BA. It's great.
This is quite the celebration back behind us as the champagne sprays and the trophy is held. And I do want to ask you one thing before I let you go here, because, and I don't want to get too sentimental, but your father passed in March, and yet he would be so proud of you now to manage in a World Series.
BA, you know what? It's so special. I thought of my father all night long and throughout this entire ride. I know he's looking down on the Dodgers and wearing his Dodger blue jacket, and he's so excited for all of us. And yeah, I mean, it's emotional for me, and I'm just so proud of all the guys. I really am.
He'd be very proud of you, Dave.
Thank you so much, BA. Thank you.
Headed to a World Series. All right, let's bring Joe Torre back in, because we have a National League Championship Series MVP trophy to give away. A former MVP yourself. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Brian, we've got 2 winners for the MVP award, and they're standing right here. Chris Taylor and Justin Turner.
Your co-MVPs of the NLCS. Justin Turner. Chris Taylor, Justin Turner. Let me get a few words with you guys, with the eyes burning as best you can pull through this. Chris, we'll start with you. I know you are getting weary of the discussion of where did this player come from, but you're standing here as a co-MVP of the NLCS. How does that sound, my friend?
It's unbelievable. You know, I'm just excited to be a part of this team. What a group we have. You know, all we've been through all year. It's just overcome with excitement, and it couldn't be happier.
Talk about playing shortstop, playing center field, doing all of that, getting on base as you have, hitting the big home runs to give your ball club the lead. This is one of the best lineups in the major leagues right now, certainly in the postseason. And talk about your role in that lineup.
Yeah, you know, and just trying to get on base for these guys to drive me in. You know, have good at bats, stay within myself, control the zone. That's something we talk about all the time, and you know, just not trying to do too much.
All right, let's bring in Justin in here, co-MVP. Last year, we saw co-MVPs with the Cubs. This year, two guys get to share this award, you and Chris Taylor. And Justin, your numbers here in this year, 7 RBIs, had the walk-off home run, 29 years to the day of Kirk Gibson's home run. The special moments for you, what stands out the most other than that walk-off, would you say?
Just this group of guys and everything we've been through all year, talking about the process, from day one in spring training, and talking about what it was going to take to get to this moment, and to a man, every single guy from the front office to the coaching staff to each and every player, putting it all out there and doing whatever it took to win a ball game each and every day, and we've been pretty good at that this year.
I don't think there's a player that could better represent the Dodgers than you. You grew up such a Dodger fan from Long Beach, Southern California kid, to Cal State Fullerton. Can you put it in perspective? You've got 4 games to win, I understand that, but can you put it in perspective what it means for Dodger fans everywhere, you representing them in the World Series now?
Yeah, you know, when Kenley and I signed back, they did a press conference at the stadium, and both of us talked about unfinished business and wanting to bring a championship back to LA and bring a World Series back to LA, and you know, we accomplished that. But like you said, there's a lot of work in front of us. We're still not done yet. We're going to enjoy this tonight and then start preparing for the next round.
All right, let's let you get back to it. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, co-MVP Justin Turner and Chris Taylor. And Casey, that is the story from the batting cage here at Wrigley Field. It is a huge party back there going on as they spray the champagne. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll send it back to you, bud.